Well, hey everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome to another episode of Cowboys in the Kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hat up, because otherwise it might fall off into what we're fixing, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to make cinnamon rolls with sourdough. So what we got to do first, I've been getting ready early, is we've got a quarter cup of water, and we're going to put a tablespoon of yeast in that. Remember, when you're putting yeast into warm water, the goal is to soften it. So if you just go whoosh and dump it all in, that's not going to happen. So you got to sprinkle. That's about right. Fairly even. Ordinarily we do it in the bowl here, but we have some other ingredients we're going to be getting ready. And it says we're going to let that soften for about 5 minutes. So while that is softening, and I'll put it on the timer, it's right behind you. Kitchen timer. Oh, clear. Kitchen timer. 5, 0, 0. There we go. It says here that we need 1.5 cups of sourdough starter. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait, there's 2 cups in there, and it usually says toss in a cup of flour and a cup of water to replenish it. What are you going to do when you take 1.5 cups out? Well, guess what? I'm going to wash this container, and I'm going to dump out the rest of the starter. And that's okay, because I'll start over again here in a few weeks. Get it all nice and stirred out. I'll actually grab the camera here, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. It looks like kind of almost like a real thin milkshake, except it won't taste like that. So yes, don't drink the sourdough starter. That would be bad. So we need 1.5 cups of that. I'm going to take my fun little wooden spoon here, put that over in here, and I am going to pour up to 1.5 cups. Okay, there's my 1.5 cups of starter. I'm just going to go take this, set it in the sink, because I'm done with it, and put up the yeast. Remember, yeast always goes back in the fridge. Refrigerate after opening. Okay. So in a large bowl, I'm going to combine that softened yeast when it's done, but I'm going to put in the sourdough starter as well. Put that in the sink. And let's see what else we put in here. Milk. We've got 3/4 cup of milk. Well, I'll just get my other cup out of here, because I don't care that it already had sourdough starter in it. Here's 3/4 cup of milk. Take that, I'm going to pour it in the bowl. Don't worry, when we start mixing, I'm going to bring you over with me. Let's see, vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. If I have my vanilla. Keep that spoon over here because I need it. Milk, vanilla, 2 tablespoons of sugar. One, 2 tablespoons of sugar. There we go. I'm going to put the sugar up. Salt. And it says we need 1 teaspoon of salt. See, now you know why I kept the teaspoon out. There you go. Got a teaspoon of salt in there. And 1 tablespoon, and I already melted this, melted butter. got all that there. And I believe that's all we have in the bowl, except for the yeast. So I can go ahead and put the salt up. If you have a few minutes and you're in between steps, pick stuff up. It's always a good idea. Alright, I don't need the vanilla anymore. So you might be wondering, what are we going to bake these in? Well, it called for 2 8-inch square pans. I don't have metal ones, but I do have these nice Pyrex ones. So there's going to be a dozen rolls in each of those by the time we're done. Remember that whole one to keep, one to give away? We're going to take the dozen in tomorrow to church, just like I did with the pumpkin bread last week. That went over really well. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bring the flour over in here, because that's what we're going to need over here. And we've got a whopping 8 seconds left. It's going to go off. See, didn't I tell you? It's almost like I'm psychic or something. Okay, let's see how soft this has gotten. There wasn't a lot of room in here for this stuff to get underneath the water's edge. So my concern is that there's still a lot of dry yeast on top. So I'm going to kind of stir this around. What's in there is kind of soft right now. It's not completely smooth, but it's smooth enough for government work. So I'm going to dump that in there. I'm going to stir the spoon, scrape off any unused yeast, because it's still soft, it's just not liquefied. Okay, so the cup goes in here, and hello again. I'm going to bring you guys over here. Hey, Mike. Hey, honey, Mikey's on there. Hi, Mikey. Carlos Sue says, hi, Mikey. There. Now you guys look kind of straight. All right. I need a paper towel to get that goop off my fingers. And how much flour? 3.5 to 4.5 cups. So it's not going to be all 4.5 because we're going to be kneading dough. Oh, that's another thing. If you're going to be kneading dough, if you wear a wedding ring and you want to be smart, take the wedding ring off. I'm not taking this off because she's done with me or I'm done with her. It's because I don't want to spend an hour and a half cleaning this. So, it's okay, hon. When I'm done with this, I'll put the ring back on. Is that alright? Okay. She said either that or put it through my nose. Okay, so 3.5. So it's half cup. So 7 or 8 of these. So I'm going to turn this on. It's going to get a little loud. So the first 5 or so are going to be at a higher speed. 1. Alternate going from the other side. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Okay, so we can put one more in here when it's done mixing, and that'll give us a really nice dough that'll be usable, and I can actually let the dough hook do some of the kneading for me, so I don't have to spend a whole 10 minutes beating on the thing. I also want this. Be very careful, because if you're not, you're going to be cooking this too. There, it's starting to get really nice in there. Okay. So now it's as slow as it can go. I'm going to take this one in here. I'm just going to kind of scoop that in. Not all at once. Sprinkle it around. Don't get the cup caught in there. I'm just going to let that go. Because that's going to incorporate into it and it'll make it really easy to work with. Now, I know it got really there. Okay, so the tripod, note to self, next time don't get a tripod with flexible legs. There we go. Well, that's going together. I'm going to take this and dump it out because otherwise it'll be smelly. I'm going to let that fill up with hot water. And the reason I'm doing that is I need to get the stuff out of the sink because before I go and knead that, I have to clean that pan out or clean that mixing bowl up. Okay, just about there. Alright. So I can set this up on the counter, then clean that. I'm going to put this up on the counter because I'm going to clean that. I can actually take my wooden spoon and stick it down there so and bowls out of it. Alright. So let's go back over here. And hey, guess what? We have a nice little dough. And not the kind that you go hunting for, right? Alright. So, you will see very shortly why I said it's a smart thing to take off the wedding ring. I'll take you back over here with me. I have to get the book out the way. Don't worry, I already cleaned off the counter before we got started. Alright, I'm going to get the bowl out and set it over here. I'm going to get the flour. And there's my half cup measure. And I'm just going to put that right out on the counter. Now if you take a look at how this looks coming out, I'll kind of hold it up. See how gooey that is? That's very, very, very sticky. It's not like the bread dough we were working with. And if I was wearing that wedding ring would now be encrusted with dough. And if I waited until it dried out, it would take hours to clean. So I'm going to take this over to, oh, I got dough on the floor. That goes in the garbage. Don't worry about hearing the water running. I'm putting hot water in that steel so I can wash it, because we're going to need that. So you can see, I don't know if you can see or not. Hey, hon, can I get you to come in and adjust the camera for me? Because my hands are, guess what, doughy. I know I said you weren't going to be on this camera, but I lied. Well, you got to walk past me so they'll see on that. Unless you want to army crawl.
That worked.
Okay.
What am I doing?
I want it down so they can see the dough. Yeah, down just a little hair more. See, and this is all we do when we do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, you can go ahead and turn that off. It's almost full. I'll be washing that in a minute.
Okay, now I'm gonna cover my face and walk back through my not matching outfit.
Everybody tell Carla bye.
Bye, Mikey.
Alright, so this is coming together really, really well. It feels nice, it's smooth, it's soft. I know, it sounds like really weird to talk that way, but it is. It's a lot softer than the bread dough that we were putting together last week. And it's very responsive. Okay, so what we're going to do is very last part of that, because I didn't show kneading when we made bread the last week. Okay, so now I've got a little light covering of dough or flour on top, and it's just sitting there. It's in a ball. And now I'll take you back over with me. Key part of Mikey says, bye, Carla. All right. So I've got to get the dough off my fingers. Again, so much easier now that we don't have a wedding ring on there to mess with or get messed up. I was making bread one time and I forgot about the wedding ring. I mean, like until the next day, and it was so crusted in there, it took me 2 hours to clean my wedding ring. So that was a painful lesson learned. Okay. So why am I cleaning the bowl? And it's not because I'm a clean freak. Anybody that's seen my den knows I'm not. The reason I'm cleaning this bowl is this is what we're going to put the dough in to let it rise. Alright. So pretty much got it cleaned out. And I'm just going to get a clean towel. Always nice to get a clean towel. I'm just going to wipe this out. Alright. Now I need paper towels, which I have over there, but I also need Crisco. Man, I love baking with this stuff. I really do. It's a lot of fun. One of these days I'll do ginger snaps. You guys can see my ginger snap recipe that doesn't use butter and doesn't use oil. Guess what? It uses Crisco. And they never, ever get hard. You leave those bad boys sitting out for a week and they won't get hardened up. Still real soft. So we're just greasing this up because that's where the dough is going to go. You can see I made it a little bit thicker on the bottom. And the reason for that is if you see a recipe that says put it in and turn it, you put it in upside down, turn it, and then flip it over and turn it again. And now this is ready to rise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my oven and I'm going to set it on the lowest setting. I think the lowest setting is like 170. And yeah, it's going to take a minute. Yep. I'm going to put that on 170, just the lowest it'll go. And that's going to help it stay warm in here. Do a little bit more product placement here in a second. The other thing I really like to do when I'm letting bread rise is I will use press and seal. Because it keeps the dough from absorbing odors in the kitchen. And it makes a real nice seal on the bowl. Alright, there we go. And so now, cover it up with the towel. That's what it looks like. It's going to sit there and sleep for about 2 hours. I got to let it rise for 2 hours. No, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you guys for 2 hours. I'm going to break a promise. I swore I wasn't going to watch NFL at all this season. Well, it's the playoffs, number one. And number two, it's the Seahawks in the playoffs. And they start up in about 8 minutes or 7 minutes. So I'm going to go catch part of the game, and I'll come in, probably be around halftime, and we'll show you how we roll that out and get it all ready to go in the oven. Anyway, take care. God bless. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. So in your absence, I did a few things. I took a 1/4 cup of sugar and a 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. I stirred them all together. This is going to go on the rolls just before we roll it up. I measured out because, hey, I remembered after doing raisins last time, while you guys were sitting there going, what's he doing? I measured out 3/4 cups of raisins, and I took 2 tablespoons of butter and melted it in this nice little dish here. I'm going to take a little bit of flour, not a lot, just a little bit, And I'm going to spread it out here. And that's just so that we don't have the dough sticking to the counter, because I don't have expensive marble counters. I'll hold this up here a little bit. You see that is nice. It's a whole lot bigger than it was, which is the goal, because we let it rise. You got to punch down the dough. So since I'm handling dough again, yes, I took the ring back off so that I don't have to wash it. So let's see. I'm going to go and take this and put it on the counter, and it's just really gooey. So I'm probably going to wind up needing even more flour on it, which won't hurt it. I mean, it's not going to make it bad or anything. You don't want the rolling pin sticking to it, and you don't want it sticking to the counter either. So I'm going to put that on here, and I'm going to kind of turn it to the side, because one of the things I have set up here, and I will adjust the camera so you can see a little bit better. There, you can actually watch as I'm rolling this out. It calls for rolling this out to a, it's 10 by 24. Yeah, 10 by 24. So we have a long way on here and a short way on here, and I got the rolling pin out, and I actually got out a little tape measure so I can measure out 10 by 24. And the nice part about this is, since it's not really a stiff dough, it's a whole lot easier to roll out, and I'm kind of chopping at it a little bit so I can square up the sides some. And I'm just going to take this. See, so right now it's about 16 inches by about 6. So we need another 8 this way and another 4 that way. Pardon me while my back is to you. I'm trying to make this really even. I know it's really difficult to make things square when you're starting out with something that's not, but we do the best we can with the tools that we have, right? So I kind of folded that under and then ran it out a little bit more so that those will match up and be square. Actually, it's not square, it's rectangular. Here we go. I'm going to put a little bit more here. As long as you don't get too happy with the flour, you can't really go wrong. Let's take another look here. Oop. At 14 that way, and about 19 that way. So I actually have to fold some of this up over, or under, I guess is the case, and focus solely on going lengthwise and kind of push it down all that way. This is only like the second or third time I've tried this, so I'm not a pro. So get this. It's actually kind of fun to play with. Let's see what that looks like. For the very, very, very most part, we have 12 and 22. So I've got it. I'm getting there. Really close. And one of the things I'm going to do here, because it's starting to stick to the counter, is I'm going to get one of my spatulas out, and that'll help me get it up off of the counter. And what I'll do is I'll put more flour in underneath that, and that way it won't stick. If I had nice expensive marble counters, this wouldn't be an issue. Okay. Now fold that back over. I should just bring this back over this way and just throw down a bunch more flour here and then lay that back over on it. And then I'll do the same thing here. See, that's kind of tugging a little bit. Okay. I can't go any further back this way without it going off the countertop, so everything's going to be going that way. So I'm going to have to move everything down there, and I will grab my rolling pin and use the force, as it were. There, that actually looks a lot better. I'm going to take this and move it out just a hair. I have a hole on this side, which we don't want holes. Okay. Actually looks pretty fair for the most part. I have one little bitty hole over here. I'm going to cheat and just take a little bit of dough and pop it up and patch that hole. So now, let's take a look. Good, we got 2 feet that way. We've got, it's still a little bit wide, but that's all right. I don't mind if it's a little bit wide. So now what we got to do is, we're going to take this butter, nice melted butter. We're going to leave about a 1-inch strip over here undone, but the rest of this we're going to take and cover with this melted butter. We're just brushing on with the pastry brush. And it says 2 tablespoons of butter. We'll find out if that's what it is. So occasionally I will come across stuff in the recipes, just like the deal with making that icing for that pumpkin bread last week. It said just use 2 tablespoons of half and half, and that wasn't even nearly enough going to cut it. So getting down to the end of the loaf, and I'm getting down to the end of my butter. So 2 tablespoons butter is right about on the money. It's actually a little bit more than an inch strip, but that's all right. So I'm going to put the butter up, and now on the wet part, what we just covered with butter. Oh, who joined me? Hey, Vanessa. Good to see you on here. Okay, so it says just sprinkle the cinnamon sugar stuff on here. Love the smell of cinnamon, love the taste of cinnamon. It is my favorite spice in the whole wide world. In fact, probably when I'm done with making these, I am going to have a cinnamon roll with cinnamon tea. And this is working out just right as far as the size or the amount of cinnamon sugar goes, because that is just covering everything. I mean, you don't want it covering everything, but you don't want it like glopped on there, but you do want a fair cover. You want it nice and you know, fairly even. Okay, so now it did say you can add nuts, but this is going to folks at church, and don't say those folks at church are nuts already. No, there might be allergies. So if you don't know who all is going to be getting it, probably a good idea to avoid the nuts. But I am going to put raisins on there, because right up there with cinnamon, I love raisins. Love me some raisins. Okay. those sprinkled on there. Now, I'm not going to smack these down into the dough, but because they're just kind of sitting up there loose, I am going to take my hands and kind of mush them in just a little bit so that they don't go stray on me. Alright, so I got those. Got those. I'm going to kind of like, just gently, not a lot. Okay. And now I can take this and I can start rolling it from this edge. And this is the edge that we didn't do. Far edge is the one that we didn't do with butter. So we start from here. You're just going to roll it up. A little bit more. Yep, see it's sticking here. That's another good reason to have that out. If it sticks a little bit, just take your little scraper thing and put it on in. It's coming together really nice. I hear the game going on in the other room and I'm going, I'm not going to go in there. Go watch football because this baking is a timed event. Besides that, once this part is done, we've got another hour and a half that it's going to rise. See, that's actually why a lot of people don't bake. It's not that it takes a lot of time in the kitchen. It's that you got to do a little bit and then go away for a bit. And you got to go do a little bit more. And then guess what? Oh yeah, you got to go away for a little bit. And that just, they can't deal with that. So now we got this all rolled up. And now we're on the part that doesn't have butter on it. Just that last little piece. Okay. So we got that all in. I'm going to kind of mush it together because I really want this to be, even though it's a little bit longer than 2 feet, I really want that to be, you know, about as much 2 feet as I can. And it did say pinch the tips together, and you want to make sure that you don't have a leading edge that's kind of sticking out. So it does say put these into 24 pieces, which is actually okay. But I guarantee you, if you go start at this end and work your way down, by the time you get down there, you'll either have too many or too few. So how do you do 24? You go take it and kind of eyeball it. And then you got, okay, so you got 12 here, 12 there, okay? Take this, okay? Now to this I'm going to get 6, so I'm going to cut that in half. And then I'm going to take each of these and cut it in thirds. Boom. Simple division. Okay, so I'm going to get one of my pans, pardon me while I disappear behind the camera. And I'm going to get out my wonderful cooking spray because you got to do that. I'm going to spray that all in there, get it all nice. And each of these is going to get 12. I'll try and zoom that, not zoom in, but bring this in there. Yeah, raisins are not icky, child. Teresa says, I forgive you for putting icky raisins in. Okay, so now if you're at this point like I am, it's kind of loose on the outside, and I don't want that. So I'm going to kind of tighten that up just by hand. And I'm going to go shove it in the corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Each of these goes in. And they're going to be smooshed up together. Because there's going to be 12 of them in here. And I think we're going to have 3 rows of 4. Which would make the 12, right? Okay. And we got those. Cool. So it's actually looking okay. When you cut them into slices, it's going to kind of smush them down a little bit unless you have a really, really, really sharp knife. And so you just try not to go too much. So there's 12 or 6, sorry. So now there's 3 in each of those. And there's 1 and 2. Okay. And that's going to go in here. And this is going to go in here. And 1 more in here. I'm down to my last 3. If it wasn't for the fact that football was on in there, I would think there was a whole room full of people in the other room cheering for me. But it's not. Alright. So, here's... Oh, come on. Don't you stick on that counter. Alright. So there's my 12 there. I'm going to go take this and set it over here. And I'm going to get the other pan. Alright, so we got another 12. So there's 6 and 6. And there's 3 and 3. There's 1. Trying not to mush this. Okay. 1. Ooh, that was good. 2, 3. And then squish this here. Not squish it, just slice it. Hey, that's slicing better. Cool. And 1 more. Alright. We got 4, 5. Oh, you get in there. I'll take those icky raisins and put them in here. Because Teresa might not like them, but Dad loves raisins. Alright. And then there's number 6. We got the last set here. So there's 6, so we got 3 and 3. Okay. And we got 1, 2, 3. Alright. There's 1, 2, 3. And then the last 3 we've got over here. 1, 2, 3. And you are going to find that some have more innards than others. The ones down the ends are going to be mostly dough. There are going to be some that are thicker than others because, you know what, we're not making these for a bakery. This is just, like, here's one. I'm not even going to put it in because it's dough, okay? But I will have 15 rolls, you know, and that's actually pretty darn awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'll bring you back over with me. And so here's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to take my press and seal. I'm going to reuse it. And I'm going to put this on here. And it's hiding. Voila. Okay, I'm going to get out more press and seal. Come on. There we go. I'm going to use that to cover this one. I'm still going to leave that oven on 170, at least for now. This has to rise for another 1.5 hours. So what I'll do is I'll set my microwave timer on for an hour. And then after that hour's up, I'll crank this up to 400, and that way within that 30 minutes it'll heat up enough to be going in. Oh cool, Seahawks just got a touchdown. So I'm going to leave that here. I am not going to do another segment when when they're going in the oven, because big deal, right? They're just going in the oven. But I will be back when we're out of the oven and getting ready to put the frosting on them. So until that time, I bid you all a fond farewell. Go have fun, be with your families, and Who knows? Maybe even watch the game. God bless. Hey everybody, welcome back. So we have two that look like this. I'll try and get this up there and tilt it a little bit so you can see it without them sliding off. Now this recipe calls for letting these cool for about 5 minutes. They've already been a couple of minutes out of the oven while I took them out of the pans. So I'm going to set those over there. I'm going to take you guys, vertigo. There we go. Get you kind of moved around here. So in this bowl right here, I have 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. So we're going to make the icing. Remember the disaster we had with the orange icing for the pumpkin bread. We may need more milk than what's being called for here. So I'm going to get my milk. Also, this is milk and not half and half. This recipe calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. My guess is it's going to need more. It also says 3 drops of vanilla extract. Look how big that is. If I get more than 3 drops in, boo-hoo on me. There, that's about, okay. That was 3, there. That would be 3 drops. Closest you're going to get. And I'm going to get my milk. And we'll start off with 2. Remember, I kind of like it runny, because it's easier to drizzle on the rolls. Don't want it too wet. And take the spoon here, stir it up. Still mostly powder with some goo at the bottom. Still mostly powder, goo at the bottom. And some of that sugar is getting incorporated in there. It's not too bad. And yeah, it's starting to stiffen up now. Yep, it's going to be needing more milk. I guarantee it. So we're going to, yeah, because look at this. That's goo. Okay. I'm going to put most of a tablespoon in there. That should get me the rest of the sugar in there. So it's all stirred down. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's still pretty thick though. Maybe another half. There we go. That's what I like. See, I should be able to do like that. See how drizzly that is? That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's switch you guys back around over here. Now, if you're in the Piqua area and you would like to have one of these tomorrow morning with a nice hot cup of coffee or some tea or some cocoa, Carla and I go to this place called the Valley Church. And they have campuses here in Piqua and Troy, but we go to the Piqua campus, a little bit closer to home. And they have services at 9:15 and 11 o'clock. So I'm going to still try and get awake in time to go to the early service because I kind of like to do that. And I'm going to take a full one of these after I split them apart, put them on a nice plate, and take them into church with me. So people can enjoy a little bit of cinnamon roll with their coffee, tea, or hot chocolate. Because one to keep, one to give away. There we go. That looks totally awesome. Well, I do like Cinnabon rolls. They way overlay the the frosting on there, and really kind of takes away from the rolls. So this is just right. There's enough in there, you get some of that goody frosting in there, but it doesn't take away from the rolls. Cool, and it's not nearly as messy. Anyway, I'll set this over here and then give you one last look at our finished masterpiece. There you go. That would be sourdough cinnamon rolls. Anyway, that is it for me tonight. I wish you all pleasant dreams and a good sleep, and hope to see you again soon here on Cowboys in the Kitchen. God bless.